Spanish police wearing forensic gear have been seen searching the holiday cottage where Jay Slater stayed the night before he disappeared.
Which is odd when you consider they said they'd called off the search. His mother has said that words can't describe, obviously, the agony she's going through, and she called the speculation and the chatter on social media about her son extremely depressing.
So, joining us now is Nick Pisa, journalist. Morning, Nick. Thank you so much for joining us. We've been dying to talk to you because nobody has looked at this case in as much detail as you have. What's your theory at the moment as we sit here at 10:42 on Wednesday morning?
Well, you could just take one of many theories. There's so many flying around, and each day just brings a new development and you change your mind again. I mean, sometimes we're all guilty maybe of overthinking things, and perhaps the most obvious thing is staring us in the face, and that potentially, sadly, I think probably what it looks like is that he has perhaps got lost on that Masca Gorge and has been overcome by tiredness, exhaustion, dehydration, and is probably somewhere up on that mountain. Although then again, you speak to the Spanish police, you speak to the independent searchers and rescue people who've been up there, and they say they've combed that mountain as much as they can. But then you speak to another independent, the TikTok guy, Paul Arnott, the experienced mountaineer, and he says that they haven't searched as thoroughly as they should do. So, you know, it's open to anything. Is there any criminality involved? Potentially. And then, as you say, yesterday, they called off as you said just now, they called off the search. When I was up there yesterday, I saw the forensics officers back at the Airbnb. But then again, it's 2 weeks afterwards, you know. Why were they there? That's the question. The problem is the Spanish police obviously are keeping their cards close to their chest and not saying anything.
Nick, it sounds like probably a stupid question, but if you're a boy that's trying to make your way home after being partying for 3 or 4 days, why would you then head into the hills and the gorge? Wouldn't you just stay on the main road and try and flag down a bus?
Well, exactly. So the problem is that from what we understand from witnesses who've spoken to him, primarily a lady, a villager who lives up in Masca, she said that she had a conversation with him and she told him that the next bus was at 10 o'clock, and she categorically was sticking her hands up, showing 10 fingers and saying, you know, it's at 10 o'clock. She then says that about 15 or so minutes later, she sees him walking up the hill away from Playa de Americas, where he was supposed to be going to, walking up the hill. And then that's where we know that his mobile phone pinged for the last time in that gorge, which is as you walk up the hill on the left-hand side. Now, adding a further theory, I've now spoken to a gentleman who found some sunglasses up there on Sunday, an ex-British Army officer who said that he saw these sunglasses, he picked them up, he said it was a duty of care, diligence basically. Someone has gone missing, there's these sunglasses, I'll pick them up and hand them into the police. And he was asked not to put them in a plastic bag because of humidity, etc., but to wrap them up in tissue paper, which he did. He handed them in and he had to give DNA and his fingerprints. So, I mean, he said to me, the question is, okay, probably not Jay's, but are they connected? So he's had to, I understand, go back again and give a further statement and explain exactly where he was when he found those glasses. And the other interesting thing that he told me is that the mobile phone ping, he said for it to ping from where they think it pinged from, you would have had to throw the phone into the bushes, because he said, quoting him, you would need a machete to get into that undergrowth in that ravine. In that gorge.
So what would that mean? Well, what would you deduce from that then, Nick?
Again, you know, I'd take another one of these theories that maybe, you know, he was someone threw his phone there and he's you know, somewhere else. You know, the police are saying that they are keeping all avenues of investigation open. They seem to be, for that first 2 weeks of that search, really focused on that gorge. They were going through it on foot with dogs and with helicopters, and then they called for volunteers on Saturday in what they said was going to be one final push. And I can see that picture that you flashed up on screen now. That was a CCTV image that was captured in Santiago del Teide, which is a town about five miles south of Mesca, so back towards Playa de Americas. The family were thinking, is that him? Could that be him? We also know that someone did go into the police station and report someone who matched Jay's description, looking a little worse for wear, in the company of two men by the church in Santiago del Teide. So again, they're looking into that. I know that the police have taken the CCTV from the cameras in Santiago to examine them.
Nick, there's this other detail that is in one of the Mail pieces. I think it might have been one of yours, which is that Jay's mother, Debbie, said that she got a Snapchat message 24 hours after he vanished, which said, "Kiss goodbye to your boy. You're never going to see him again. He owes me a lot of money." And then she told reporters, "I think he's been taken against his will with what's been said." Why is there not more being made of her receiving that message?
Well, again, possibly it is that the Spanish police just aren't letting on as to what their other avenues of inquiry are. I also understand, though, that message is perhaps being taken with a pinch of salt, because she has, the poor woman, received lots of abuse online, lots of messages and lots of similar demands. But we understand that none of them are deemed credible. Right,
OK. Well, how long are you going to be out there for, Nick, getting to the bottom of this?
Good question. No idea.
well, you're doing a great job anyway of bringing the British public up to speed.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
So thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
That's Nick Pisa, senior global reporter for Mail Online.